Thank you for joining us tonight for our second episode of the 2025 Pickerington North Football Show. We like to kick off this week's show with thanking our sponsors. First, Cardo's Pizza and Tavern for hosting our weekly show here, located at 7897 Refugee Road in the Kroger Shopping Center right across the street from Pickerington North. Cardo's is the perfect pregame meal with the family before any Pickerington North athletic event. Keith, the owner, does an outstanding job here. Our second sponsor, the American Legion Post 283. Join the American Legion Post 283 for steak night this Friday night, 6 to 8. Enjoy a 10-ounce strip steak dinner just for $18 a plate. Really good value. They're located at Refugee Road right across the street from Pickerington North High School. It's open to the public. And I tell you what, I got some texts on that this week. A lot of people excited about that 10-ounce strip steak dinner. I'm jealous I can't make it. Our final sponsor, good people over at Peterson Home Building LLC. My friend Ian Hale, one of the partners there. They're your trusted partner for roof repair and restoration solutions in Central Ohio. Peterson is committed to developing top quality craftsmanship and exceptional customer service to safeguard your most valuable investment, your home, with integrity and precision. Contact Peterson Home Building at 614-549-9596. So we'll go ahead and start this week's show. So last week the Panthers traveled the Division I number 1 team in the state, Lakewood St. Edwards, at Baldwin Wallace College last Friday. They really lost a hard-fought 24-0 game. Panthers played a physical football game against a roster littered with Division I college talent in St. Ed's. This week the Panthers will travel back to Cleveland and take on traditional powerhouse and 11-time state champion in Division I, Cleveland St. Ignatius. Tonight we're joined by linebackers coach Ryan Smith and linebacker Dante Curtis. So tonight we'll go ahead and get started with one of our senior captains, Dante Curtis. Dante, thank you for joining the show. It's good to finally have you on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So Dante, last year, you had 90 tackles, you had 15 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, and 1 block kick. So talk about, last year you kind of came on the scene as one of the leaders of the defense. Defense really kind of came along. So, talk about, your season last season.
I think it was a pretty good season for me. I think my coaches helped me out a lot for putting me in the right positions to win and to make plays, and I just executed and did what I could do.
So what was your favorite game last season?
I think Grove City had 9 tackles and 5 TFLs and 2 sacks.
Yeah, so that was a battle that night too. 4-quarter game, defense. And that was really one thing I thought about the defense last year. A lot of those playoff games, you guys kind of had to carry the torch.
Yeah.
Berlin, Pick Central. You guys had to get some critical stops. Talk about that a little bit.
I mean, the playoffs is just meant for defense, and whoever got the best defense is going to win. We had scored 3 times on defense against Central. We won. I blocked a kick against Berlin. And it just led us up into the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. So you were named, preseason, you were named one of the top 10 linebackers in the Central Ohio area. Talk about that honor and, talk about your feelings, with that.
I feel like it's an honor, and I worked a lot for it, but it's not finished. I'm trying to win a state championship this year.
So do you have, anybody else in that list? Do you have any relationships or anybody, you keep in touch with? Okay.
No, not really.
Fair enough. So you played 3 years of varsity football. How much getting on the field as a sophomore really has helped you as a junior and as a senior?
It helped me out a lot, actually. I had Cam and Kyan helping me. Cam in the summer before the season even started, he'll pick me up from my house, take me and work out on the field, just me and him, and keep getting me ready for this moment. So then when I got my moment in sophomore year, I balled out and I got to keep playing. And then games made it keep faster. Last year was even faster for me. Now this year is even more faster.
Yeah. So, you had 2 interceptions as a sophomore. Yeah. So, 25 tackles, kind of rotating in. So, yeah, really kind of, I thought set you up for a great junior season. So, talk about, the honor of being a captain your senior year. What responsibility you have as a senior on this team?
I think it's an honor for the coaches thinking that I'm a leader. That's what I strive to be the whole time. This is my last year, so I like to be vocal and show my teammates hold them accountable when it's needed, but also give them props when they're doing something right and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell the folks at home your journey as a football player. So when did you start playing? What position did you play growing up? And then do you ever see yourself playing linebacker?
No, actually, I never see myself playing linebacker. When I was a little kid, like I started like 3rd grade, play like flag football.
Okay.
I was on offense. I was playing like quarterback, running back, just like everywhere, just like scoring. And I got to like 7th grade year, 6th grade years. I first played like tackle football. And I think I played tight end.
Okay.
And then 7th grade, I started playing linebacker. 8th grade linebacker, I played center linebacker.
So let me big debate sometimes. When do you think is the right age to start playing tackle football?
I don't even know. My parents thought 6th grade was the right age.
Okay.
That's when I started playing.
So I know, there's always that debate, 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, but everybody has their, their story, right?
Yeah.
So you also played basketball at Pick North too. Talk about playing multiple sports at a school like Pickerington North, and how does that help you on the football field?
Competing. I think me competing at basketball makes me compete even more at football, and vice versa. And I started playing. I actually was on varsity freshman year for basketball. At the end, they moved me up, and I played varsity since.
Okay. And then what position do you play basketball-wise?
I play power forward.
Power forward. So you're crashing the boards.
Yeah.
You're boxing out.
Yeah.
You're doing the dirty work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you play basketball too. What other talents would you want people to know at home to know you have? So what are you into?
I like playing video games.
What's your go-to?
NCAA.
Okay. Oh. I could go hours on that. Who's your team? Do you play online?
Yeah, I play at Bama.
Get out of here. No, they got. So you're just going 5 wide. You're just turning up to Ryan Williams every single play.
Yeah.
Okay, I cover 4, 3 deep. I got you. Give me your handle sometime. We'll have to play. Okay, so playing the linebacker position, how much responsibility do you have on a play-to-play basis of making sure the front seven's set?
I mean, it's hard sometimes because I gotta worry about what I'm doing, and then I gotta adjust the line in front of me, and I got 2 new linebackers I'm playing with this year, so I gotta tell them help them out sometimes when I need it. And I also gotta help out the DBs if they need something. So it's hard at some points, but I can get it done.
Coaches do a good job of getting you guys ready, putting you in the right position, and then you obviously you probably have 30, 25, 30 starts, so you have that experience to kind of lead those young guys. Maybe have never seen something like that before. So tell us about the amount of film study you do on a weekly basis to get ready for a game on Friday night.
I try to do a lot because I really think film is very important because once I watch film and take notes, when I come to the game, I'm like, oh yeah, middle play, I'm like, oh yeah, I know what this is. Now I'm playing even more faster. I'm gonna go make that play because I know what's coming. So I really think it's a lot important. So I like to watch a lot of film.
So one thing I'll give you, I'll compliment your defense on is the communication. You guys are, you're on the sidelines. You guys are constantly talking, adjusting. Talk about how important communication is as a defense.
Yeah, I think it's very important because the things I can see, the line and stuff. But it's also going to be different from things like Amari Miller sees from a receiver. If he's coming behind me, for a hitch route behind me, I need to talk from him. Or what Durham is seeing down there in the line. He has a better vision than me, so then he can help me out, or I can help him out what I'm seeing. If he's coming, the tackle's coming straight to me, then I can help him out talking about, all right, I need to get hands on this tackle so I can come free. So I think it's very important.
So what is your process to adjusting? So, obviously, let's say, they call plays in from the sidelines. You see a 3-wide look and then they go double hip. What is your process like? You're real time. We got to make an adjustment on the field. What is your process to what you see as say a formation change instantly or different personnel package or an audible? What's your process for that?
Our coaches actually if we're in this formation, and then if we're in this, he calls this play, and then they come in that formation like that, in film, and then in practice, we actually practice that, and he gives me the call, or I know the call, what to say to them, and then I'll check the call out, and then I'll line up to think how I think we should line up.
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the observations, I've had the pleasure of getting to watch you play for the last years, see you develop. You're a very agile player. So, you can come up on a run, you can play the pass, and you love to get after the backfield, TFLs, and sacking the quarterback. What is your favorite part? Is it pass coverage? Is it coming up on the run? Coming out of the backfield? What is Dante Curtis's favorite part of playing defense?
I like to get sacks.
Okay.
That's my favorite. I like to get a sack.
So, what do you take the most pride in your game individually? So, what is one thing you take the most pride in?
I like to show teams that they can't run on us.
Yeah.
Because when they think they can't run on us, then I could trust my DB. So
yeah, absolutely.
It's just the whole offense down. So that's what I like to take pride in. Is like they can't run on us.
So, what part at the linebacker position at Division I level in high school football? What have you had to put the most work in? What are you most proud of?
Just like my strength and like my speed. I just like to work on so I can the strength is important because I'm having big line
absolutely.
come up to me. Yeah, so I got to learn how to shed them off, and it's using technique. So I think that's the most important, really technique and how strong I am.
Especially when you got a 280, 300 pound behemoth pulling right at your grill. Like, what do you do, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So you're getting to play tight end this year. So you mentioned growing up you played a little bit of tight end, but you're getting to we'll call you a 1.5-er this year, right? So your full-time defense last few years. This year you're playing tight end. Talk about learning the tight end position at the high school game, some of the challenges, and then what do you enjoy about it?
The challenges are learning the plays. I mean, I already knew the defensive plays. We're always adding to that too, though. But me coming in first year, learning all the plays, and the signals, that was the hard part. But I got it all down now, so I think that's really the challenge. And what I like about it is that I can help the team on both sides, not just one side. I can help scoring touchdowns or lead block.
Yeah, absolutely. So you say you're playing 50 to 70 plays a game. How important is conditioning and keeping your health right?
That's actually very important. After every really practice, I'm out. Me and the other two-way guys, we're out there conditioning so we could be ready for a Friday night, and always taking care of my body after Friday, taking an ice bath on Saturdays, going to see the trainers. I think that's very important.
Very, very, very important. So at the college level or the NFL level, who do you emulate your game after? Who do you watch on Saturdays and Sundays and you're like, that is the dude, and that's kind of, some things that you like watching on Saturdays and Sundays?
He don't play no more, but Ray Lewis, that's what I like to watch.
Well, I mean, Ray was one of a kind. That guy, you talk about stopping to run, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the definition of a run stopper. Yeah. So can you drop us a lights out dance one night coming out of the tunnel?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, yeah, I'll watch you. Let me know what game, all right?
All right. Yeah.
I got you, all right? So, in your opinion, what does it take to play linebacker at Pickerington North? What characteristics?
Being strong, mentally strong for sure, and knowing all the plays, learning the plays, and making sure your teammates know the plays too, and not trying to be in a hurry all the time. Slow down.
Yeah, absolutely. So, how important though? One thing I love about your group, constantly 11 hats on the ball. Talk about how important that is as a defense. The rally and 11 helmets on the ball every single play.
I think that's very important. We do a drill actually at practice called the pursuit drill, and it's where we line up like a walkthrough, but we're running off the field. We're running on the field, calling up our package, running on the field, and then we would get in the play. So he would snap the ball and he'd throw a pick on purpose, and then we would all run, block, or we would all run to the ball in 4 seconds. So we don't get to the ball in 3 seconds. Then we got condition after practice.
And I really think that kind of helps to a lot of the defensive touchdowns we saw last year. A lot of special teams.
Yeah.
It's quick and everyone's got to know what they're doing. Pick up a guy and let someone house it.
We do. Yeah, we practice a lot of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So all right, so talk about your senior groups. The Ryan Millers, Malachi, Elijah. You get one more chance this year. You guys get a chance to run it back. You've had some good playoff rounds. You went to the regional final last year, regional semifinal the year before. Talk about how much fun it is to get to run it back one last time.
It's really fun. I think this is really the year too. I think we're gonna get it this year, but it's very fun. Our group, we haven't lost 7th grade, 8th grade we didn't lose, freshman year we didn't lose. So this group alone, we have winning history. So hopefully we can keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. But and I feel like what is your senior class's goal for 2025?
We want to beat our rivals. We want to win the OCCs, and then we want to go to states.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's our goals.
Absolutely. So, one thing I think about, when I do, I do all your stats from the box and stuff.
Yeah.
One thing I kind of think about, during a game is, Elijah, Malachi, you always, the TFLs, the sacks. It's like, sometimes I kind of joke to myself. It's like, are you guys competitive?
Yeah.
It's like, I want the sack. No, I want the sack.
Yeah,
no, I want the TFL. I want the TFL.
Yeah.
So, are you guys looking at you guys sit there comparing stats and, kind of competitive a little bit? Or
we do. When we see each other, we be like comparing our stats and see who did better, just messing around. But we're having fun with it.
Yeah, but, really that trio, you throw Ryan in there too as a senior. You guys have really, kind of grown up the last year or two, kind of what we're seeing on Friday nights.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, talk about, one thing, I got the experience to play with my stepbrother growing up. Your brother, Demetrius, getting to play as a sophomore, and I've heard people talk about him the last couple years. He had a really good game the other night. I think he had 9 tackles off the top of my head, between the solos and the assists. Talk about how cool it is to get to play with your brother your senior year.
I think it's very cool. I like that I'm doing this because I can show him the way.
Yeah.
And I can help him out because he's at my house. So I could go to his room whenever I want, watch film with him, show him what he's doing wrong, and so I think I'm a good mentor for him.
Yeah.
So he can be really good.
So what is one thing you told him coming into the season? So you obviously knew he was going to play varsity ball.
Yeah.
What was one thing that you told him like you must know for if you're going to start varsity as a sophomore?
Don't do other people's jobs. Do your own job, and don't move too fast. So
Yeah.
you'll get blown up.
So all right. So we talked about your senior year. So you're committed to play at Akron.
Yeah.
So talk about how did Akron come along?
So they offered me when I was a sophomore.
Okay.
And then they actually, last year, they re-offered me to make it committable. And I went on a visit down there multiple times. And I talked to their coaches. I love their DC. I love their coaches. And their facilities are actually good, really good.
They just built a brand new stadium 15 years ago. Infocision, I believe, is
their
still.
stadium's the biggest in the MAC.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is the place I wanted to be. So
Yeah, home of LeBron too, which doesn't hurt either. But
and it's not that far away, only like 2 hours. So
yeah, and then Coach Moorhead, how much have you gotten to talk to him? Obviously he was a coach in the SEC, Mississippi State, really good offensive coordinator. So how much of a relationship have you built with him?
Yeah, I built a good relationship with him. Talked to him the day I committed. I went up there and we had a meeting with him in the DC, and we had a good long talk.
Yeah,
I really like him.
So obviously, Akron has been, maybe the last 10 years a little bit of a rebuild project. They had a solid season last year. Getting the opportunity to play, against the highest states of the world and stuff. Talk about you get to play against some Big Ten. I think they're playing South Carolina this year. Talk about getting the opportunities to play against like the SEC and the Big Ten.
I think it's a pretty good opportunity for the players too and the team, because they can come out there and beat them, and now Akron's on the map. Like, oh, okay, they're a good team. They're a good team now. And for the players, it's like, okay, now I'm playing against the best of the best. Like, we're going to go succeed or we're going to fold. And I think it's a really good opportunity for all the players and the coaches.
Yeah, absolutely. So what does Akron see you playing at the next level?
They said middle linebacker.
Middle linebacker, okay. So what things does Akron want you to work on before you get there?
I would just say my speed a little bit, a little faster.
So what are you doing personally, like speed-wise? Like, are you taking speed training or?
Yeah, before the season, I was working with Kenny Stafford.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
That was my trainer, and then I'm taking little breaks. I'm in season, but after the season, I'll go right back to him.
So are you going to early commit, or you're going to try to play basketball again this year? Or?
No, I'm early enrolling.
Okay,
so,
awesome. So you're going to graduate in December and then
Mm-hmm.
start? Okay. And then, talk about, the MAC, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, we got the connections at Ohio University. You got Michael, you got Tyson Long, you got Aiden and Compass over at Miami, Ohio. You got Jaron going to BG. Jonas is up at Akron. How much fun is that going to get to be to play against your ex-high school teammates in college? Have you guys talked about that at all? Or?
Yeah, it's going to be fun. We always talk to each other, like Malachi Irving, Durham, Jaron, Brian. We always be talking about who's going to beat each other this year. Like, it's going to be fun. And I'm still going to stay in college and play against them. So it's going to be really fun.
Well, really, that's an exciting. But Dante, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been really fun to talk to you, the fans at home, to get to know you a little bit. Wish you the best of luck. Have a monster senior season, and you got a bright future ahead of you. So,
thank you.
Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. All right, we're joined for segment 2 by linebackers coach Ryan Smith. One of my favorite guests of last year too. You know, we had some good conversations. Hopefully, his TikTok mafia is watching us tonight. Maybe give us a couple of views.
Right.
Coach Hiller just talking about who all are you an influencer for? Like,
I've had some success with a couple companies, Staples to Clorox to a couple of food places trying to send us stuff. Short successes, but hopefully down the road, we'll get some more deals, things like that. See what I can help my students out with.
So how did that even come about?
Honestly, just being bored in college during COVID, needing a hobby to do. I actually hated TikTok at one point in time, but it got to the point I was like, I just need something to do.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, one video took off, then another one, then I started doing it with my students, and next thing you know, I'm almost 500,000 followers away. So
wow, I mean that's absolutely wild.
Yeah.
So all right, we'll talk about football now. You always fascinate me with that, but we'll talk about football. So obviously we just had Dante Curtis on.
Yeah.
Talk about the pleasure of coaching Dante in his career here at North, and what you respect the most about him as a football player.
I'll say the best thing about it is him and his class is they were my first coaching class.
Yeah.
So their freshman year was my first year coaching freshman ball. And so it's been nice to see these guys grow from literally the beginning of their high school career to where they are now.
Yeah.
And I mean, they've been nothing but great since the beginning. 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, they were undefeated. So all that class knows is winning.
Yeah.
And when you got guys who that's all they know, that's all they bleed, that's all they feel and think, it makes your job a little easier.
Yeah.
So it's been a pleasure to have a class to start off with that much fight in them, with that much want to just be great, and they're setting the tone for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And even we talked about different instances in different games last year, where a lot of times maybe the game did come down to them. And, one thing that defense has had the last couple of years is that never die attitude.
Yeah.
We're not losing.
No, we can't. We have to have that mentality, and that's just what's going to keep the program strong. Defense wins games. He'll tell you himself. I'm sure he'll brag about it. We don't get stops against Berlin. We don't get to advance last year in the playoffs. Big field goal blocks, big 4th down stops to help our offense get back on the field. So defense wins games, it wins championships. So I'm glad to have him on that side of the ball as well.
Yeah, well, you're sharing him a little bit this year.
A little bit.
So we'll talk about the offseason camp with the defense and some areas of growth from last year's defense you've seen so far.
I think, camp went well. It's a struggle because, we got guys going both ways, but we're doing whatever we need to do for the team. I think after watching last week, we are going to have a lot of success, especially when guys are playing both ways because, if you want to be successful, you just got to have your best guys out there.
Yeah, you got to play your best 11.
Whether it's offense, defense, special teams, the best guys can't come off the field. And I think they understand that role and who they are as those top guys, those seniors. They've been built and prepared for this moment, and now they just got to take over.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, last year, I was talking about this with Dante a little bit too. Last year, the defense was very opportunistic, we'll say. A lot of big plays, special teams. You guys define special teams touchdowns as defensive touchdowns too.
Of course.
So how pivotal will that repeated success be for this year's team?
Very pivotal. We saw last week when we didn't have a great special teams unit that it put us in a bind. It kind of hurt us against St. Ed's as well. So Coach James always says that, it's offense, it's defense, it's special teams. Those are the 3 phases of the ball. We control 2 out of the 3. So we're controlling 67% of the game. So defense and special teams are going to win us the game, whether it's field position, blocking field goals like we did against Central, scooping them to score.
You had an extra point block this week too.
Exactly. So it's like we have to make sure that we control the tempo through special teams and through defense, wherever we can, to help set our offense up for great field position to make plays.
Yeah, absolutely. Forced 3 turnovers last week. The Geo pick and then the 2 forced fumbles. I mean, especially a team of that caliber, to be able to generate that, that's got to be a good sign for 2025.
It is, and that's something that we harp on is getting the ball back. We are selfish on defense. We like to score as well, and we always tell our guys we can do it. Last year we had 4 turnovers against them. Should have been 8, but we missed out on a couple of things. And this year we're repeating for about the same amount. And basically, it's just our way of saying we can score too.
Yeah.
We have to be dominant, and if it's with the number 1 team in Ohio or the last team ranked in Ohio, we have to show up and perform every day.
So talk about the importance, the linebacker group, the front 7, disruptive plays, and I think that's one thing this defense has really kind of made a hallmark of.
Yes.
You talk about Elijah Durham-Smith, talk about Malachi Irvin, you talk about Daunte, the amount of TFLs and sacks. How important are those early down disruptive plays?
Very important, because not only does it give us momentum, but it lets us feel a little bit more confident, playing with a little swagger. And these guys already are overconfident and know that they can do anything they put their mind to. So, being able to get those TFLs, those sacks, not only is it packing their stat sheet, of course, and they're very proud of that, but it's helping, again, set our offense up for position to succeed.
Yeah, and one thing, hats off to the defense last week.
Yep.
Was, St. Ed's got off that fast start. You guys got to stop and, turnover inside the 20-yard line. So one thing that really speaks to me is the resiliency of the defense.
Yeah, first play out the gate, first game of the season.
Yeah.
Things like that happen.
Yeah,
but we were able to settle in, hone in into who we are as a defense, as Dark Side, and it started to show.
Yeah, absolutely. So what is the linebackers room primary goal for 2025?
Just compete, be the best unit. I challenge these guys to not only be the best unit, but to challenge others to be just as dominant as them. We play with swagger, and we feel as if we are the best unit on the team. With him, T-Shawn, obviously his younger brother, Demetrius Curtis, and a handful of other backers, Brock Houston, unfortunately Jaden Covington, who hurt himself last week. We have the group to where we're going to basically say, listen, we're coming at you, we're the best group, and we're going to push everybody else to be the best.
So, what are your focus during the week as a coach for linebackers? Is it, technique? Is it film study, the physicality, or health and recovery?
A little bit of everything. Each linebacker brings a different thing to that group. So it's hard to just coach them up on one specific thing. I think the technique we built over the summertime, film is important, getting those guys ready so that way they can see it, line up, and just play fast. But a little bit of everything goes into it. You got different guys, you got seniors, you got juniors, you got sophomores all playing, you got guys transferring in. So, we have to make sure that we're accountable all across the board.
So how would you describe your coaching style?
I'm the young coach, so I like to have fun. Like I said, this is my first graduating class with Daunte and those 2026 guys. So they've known me literally my whole coaching year. So, I feel like I'm an older brother, kind of like an uncle for those guys. So I like to have fun, but at the same time, they know that we got to get after it.
Yeah.
And it's time. They know time and place, when it's time to joke and have fun, and when it's time to lock in and be down.
Yeah.
So luckily, they set the tone for everyone else, and now it's just trickling down to the next generation.
And you've gotten to see them grow up as young men, and they've gotten to see you grow up as a coach too.
Yeah, it's a full circle thing, and it's nice to see because we've got to grow together.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've got, obviously Daunte back to lead your room, brother Demetrius, who had a really good game, for his first start. Tayshawn Smith, had some really good moments last week. You got Brock Houston. You've got a lot of juniors and seniors getting playing time for the first time this year. So how crucial is week-to-week development for these guys, getting them coached up, and what's the difference they're going to see from JV and freshman ball?
From JV and freshman going up to varsity is obviously just the speed of the game is a lot faster. But it's very crucial we get all these guys. We want to be able to have a nice rotation of linebackers to where anyone can play, especially with our senior going offense. Last week I don't think he came off the field until halftime.
Yeah.
So he's getting a lot of reps, 60, 70 reps. Legit reps a game to where your conditioning is going to have to start to come into play. And, we need younger guys, whether it's juniors or sophomores, to step up and say they can take on the lead or take on the load whenever he's gone. So very crucial to let these guys know that, hey, look, you're going to be the next guy up. I like to have a good rotation of guys to where if he does need a break or does need a drive, they're ready to go. However, he's not coming off the field. I already told him, you don't get an exception. You got to be our Travis Hunter of the defense this year, you and a handful of other guys, to where you don't come off the field and you're just a dominator.
Yeah, so what is, you mentioned a bunch of young guys. It doesn't have to be in the linebacker room, but on the defense, what is one name at home that no one knows about yet that you really think could maybe come on the scene this season?
I think the youngest guy, I don't say anyone doesn't know about him because he's well talked about, but his younger brother, Demetrius Curtis.
Yeah.
You got, I like to think of it as Dante's the prototype. He's laid down the foundation. He showed him the ropes. He has the height, the size. He's done everything he needs to do, and now Demetrius gets to follow suit with that. And they play off of each other. They're great. You got the younger guy who's not as experienced, but is learning off of the older brother, and plays just as fast, just as explosive as him. And when you got two backers like that, you can have some fun.
Yeah.
But we got a lot of young guys, sophomores, freshmen. Gio McKnight, who obviously was like our Swiss Army knife last year, playing a couple games, first rotator and now he's starting. Marquise Ray also rotating, helping us out. So we got the guys, we got the youth, which is great because it helps us build for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And brother Marquise too was a dog himself.
Yes. He did what he needed to do his freshman year. And now he's back with us. Yeah. And it's good to have him.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what is one area that you think is going to be critical to have success in 2025 for the linebacker room?
Just communication. Making sure that we control the pace of the game. We're the quarterbacks of the defense. So if we're all on the same pace, we're getting our front guys lined up, making sure our back guys get the call. I think it would make us a lot more successful. We had our first game last week against, like you said, the best team in the state. It is what it is. But from what I saw, it shows that we're going to be very successful throughout the course of the year. But it starts with us.
Yeah.
Starts with us. We are the leaders of the defense, and they know that, and they harp on that, and they hone in on that, and I think they take pride in that as well.
Well, and I think you got to be, as a coach, you got to be proud of the physicality your group played with last week. Playing against a college-style offensive line, size. Those guys probably go 15 deep, probably on the offensive line. Playing double hips. I thought the physicality defensively, you guys matched that, and I really felt that way.
Yeah, they have to. In the linebacker room, you got to be able to want to hit.
Yeah.
If you're not coming downhill hitting someone, you're doing something wrong. So those guys are very physical. Those guys are very competitive, and it shows. And I think it's going to keep showing over the course of the year.
So what can you learn from a game like last week?
Understand that it's just the first game. This is probably going to be the most errors we make, the most mistakes we make. It's hard to really judge a team off the first week because it's the first week. You don't have all the film you need on the other team you're watching. But again, that's probably the best team we'll see all year.
Yeah.
And we hope to see them again. We'll be even more prepared as we start to gel throughout the season.
Yeah, and definitely, plenty of opportunities ahead.
Yes.
But I thought the performance overall, stopping the run, there were a lot of good moments I felt, defensively last week.
I agree.
So big challenge. You go back to Cleveland again. So what was that bus ride like last week?
Long, and even longer on the way back. Obviously, we don't get the win. It sucks. Guys are down, but there's still a lot to learn from.
Yeah.
And now we get to go back to Cleveland. I would love to split a game 1-1, and then hopefully down the season we go back again and get some revenge on St. Ed's. But now it's a new week. We got to focus on St. Ignatius. I think we'll be prepared. I'm more than excited to see what we have to bring come week 2.
So what kind of challenges does St. Ignatius present for this week?
I think it's more so on us. We're going to always have a different challenge each week with a different team, but it's more so how can we make the most of our opportunities. We missed some opportunities last week, whether it was not picking up a pick, whether it was a pick six we're dropping or not getting in the end zone, which are momentum plays that help us, especially on the road against a team like that. So, St. Ignatius, great program, state championships between them and St. Ed's are endless. But again, I think we need to hone in on what we can do and how we can improve on our mistakes and our opportunities so that we can be successful.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk about that crowd last week. That was, for a season opener, that was absolutely electric. When, really the fans at home showed up. We had a pretty good showing too. I thought their fans really made a lot of noise on our side. I
think it's nice to see our fans traveling, coming out to a different city. It just shows the type of community we have and the support that we have at Pickerington.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's special.
Absolutely. Well, Brian, I know you got a busy week ahead of you.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Always good to catch up and get to see your group develop and you develop as a coach. We've gotten to watch that the last 4 years. So it's really been fun to watch.
Appreciate that.
So we're going to go ahead and wrap up tonight's show. I'd like to thank Cardo's Pizzeria and Tavern for hosting us again this week. Owner Keith is nothing but fantastic to us every week. I'd like to thank this guy right here, linebackers coach Ryan Smith, and then senior linebacker Dante Curtis, who joined us in segment 1. Be sure to pack up the car and take the family for a Labor Day weekend trip up to Lake Erie. We play Friday night at Euclid Community Stadium, so literally right on the lake. So, get a place to stay for the weekend, come out for the game. Yeah, maybe stay for the weekend in Cleveland. Lake Erie's fun this time of year. The Panthers will take on St. Ignatius Friday night at 7 o'clock. So we'll look forward to the support this week from the fan base. And as always, the most important, remember, go North.